Maison Margiela, or the House of Margiela, launched a fragrance in 2021 called Autumn Vibes. What a wonderful time autumn is, or fall like some people like to call it. If you're interested in that fragrance or want to know what I think about it, why don't we look at it together? Come on. Hey everyone, I'm Peter from Central. If you're new to this channel, on this channel we talk about fragrances, designer, niche, perfumers, so on and so forth, new releases, etc. So if you're into fragrances or you just want to smell nice, consider subscribing, love, like, share, all those wonderful things. You know what to do. I want to thank you in advance, and now let's dive right into our fragrance from 2021, Autumn Vibes from the House of Margiela. Maison Margiela was founded in 1988 by Maison Margiela. Like so many designer houses, they have many other things. They also have a fragrance line called REPLICA. And REPLICA sports names like Beach Walk, Jazz Club, Coffee Break, and this is one of my favorites called By the Fireplace. The brand describes their scents as a replication of familiar scents and moments of varying locations and periods. The newest one that was released from REPLICA, or the House Margiela, or Maison Margiela, is a fragrance called Autumn Vibes from 2021. The period for Autumn Vibes is 2018 in Montreal, and it is a woody trail with red leaves on it. The memories of fragrance, they all come in 100 milliliter or 3.4 ounce, and they're all in bottles like this. On the front of these, you will have where it originated from, or the name, the province, and the period, the fragrance description, it says woody trail and red leaves, and then the style of description, memory and fragrance. Now some of these will actually say if it's geared towards the feminine side or the masculine side. This particular one does not tell us anything, but we'll get into that in just a second. When I first got this bottle of Autumn Vibes, I kind of had the feeling that this fragrance was a little bit of a strong, sort of ancient woody fragrance. Now in the description from the house, they say that it is a breath of fresh air. However, I don't really get that too much. To me, this fragrance is a little bit too heavy for fresh air. I get the outdoors, I get the woods, and I definitely get the red leaves. But fresh air to me is a little bit more ozonic or crisp, and I really don't get that from this one. Now the reason I say that is because I don't want you to go out and get this fragrance or smell it and try it and go into it thinking that this is a lighter, freshy, ozonic, airy fragrance. It is not. It is a little bit heavier, and you kind of gotta be ready for what you're getting into. It's definitely a strong scent. But that's why I'm here, to kind of let you know of things before you go out and spend your hard-earned money on it. And this is a good time. If you get anything out of this at all, don't forget to love, like, share, all those wonderful things that help support this channel. I want to thank you in advance. And now why don't we go ahead and give this one another spray and kind of get into the notes a little bit and see why this one is such a unique fragrance for autumn. All right, here we go. Let's give it another couple of good sprays. All right, so the notes of Autumn Vibe, at the very top you're going to have some cardamom and you're going to have some pink pepper, which is nice. It's nice and warm, and it gives it a little bit of a peppery, of course a peppery, but a little bit of a tingly sensation when you first spray it. Now it is quite beautiful. It is very dense and heavy though, but not in a molasses kind of way. It is lighter than that. Interesting though, the pepper, it kind of helps give you the leafy, when you've ever walked through an autumn, like a leaf pile, but it hasn't rained in a while, and the pile is kind of on the drier side. The leaves sort of have almost a tingly sensation as you walk through them. I guess the dust from the leaves kind of comes up. And I see where the pepper kind of does that. This is more of a dry leaf path than it is a wet leaf path. And as you continue, as the fragrance kind of mellows a little bit, there is carrot seed and nutmeg in the middle. The nutmeg, of course, gives it a little bit of spice and a little bit of earthiness, which is quite beautiful. Now the carrot seed is really the interesting one in here. Carrot seed has a little bit of muskiness, and therefore it has a slight animalic sense to it. I actually quite like it. It fits perfectly appropriate for the outdoors. But I can also see where the slight little animalic scent that is in there from the carrot seed probably turns off some people, and they're like, you know, not quite for me. I quite like it. Now, in the base of this fragrance, you'll have some cedar and there's going to be some oak moss. All those are really blended really well, but there is a little bit of an outdoor scent in here that's quite deep and quite dense. Not everybody's cup of tea, I would think. For me, in the dry down though, once it sort of hits the cedar and the moss and the rest of the notes are just kind of faintly in the back, that's where the fragrance is the best for me. When you first spray it, it's quite strong and you need to let it set in a little bit. To my nose, Autumn Vibes is 100% unisex. Well, I can't say 100%, I guess, because I do think it does lean just a little bit on the masculine side. So 85% unisex. Personally, I would like the fragrance just a little bit better if it was more on the wet leaf side than the dry leaf side. The dry leaf side kind of, you know, reminds me of summer, I guess, and the wet leaf side reminds me of the coming months of winter. I think another great note in here would be something ozonic maybe. If you remember walking in the woods, every now and then, you know, the trees open up and the sun hits you. And it would be really nice to have the leaves and the woodiness and the outdoor, you know, the earthiness, and then the slight ray of warm sun hitting your skin, giving you a little bit of a warm ozonic feeling. I think that the fragrance would be a little bit better if it had a slight bit of an ozonic feel to it. Now, of course, I wasn't in Montreal in 2018 and maybe it was overcast and there was no sun to be had. And for me personally, I like the fragrance. I don't think that I would be wearing this one to the office. It doesn't really work for me in the office, but perhaps, you know, going outdoors, going on walks, maybe being outside in the wintertime, I think it's a really nice one for that. Also, surprisingly enough, you know, with how strong this fragrance first comes across when you spray it, it only has about a 6, maybe 7 hour longevity, and it protects pretty well for about the first hour, but then it kind of settles in closer pretty quickly. One thing I did also notice is that the profile of this fragrance, to my nose, smells a lot better when you spray it on the skin. Off the strip, it kind of comes across almost a little bit too peppery for me. Like it never really settles into something a little bit warmer and smoother that I like for autumn or winter. But on the skin, the moment you sprayed it on there, it was kind of just more a warmer scent and not quite as peppery. So I definitely suggest when you do go out and test it or something like that, spray it on your skin and kind of, you know, skip this right here, because the skin is really where this fragrance is going to shine. All in all, I think this fragrance is really well done. It is a bit strong, so be ready for that when you go try it. Do spray it on the skin. It definitely does a lot better on the skin. It's not quite as peppery. Is it worth the money that you can have to pay for it right now? Don't know. If you're a fan of, you know, the heavier scents by the Fireplace, you know, Jazz Club, you might like this one as well. Like I said, the carrot seed is a little bit musky and it's a little bit more on the animalic side. So it has a strong vibe of outdoors. I personally really enjoy wearing this one when it's more on the outside. Not to the office though. But if you had a chance to try it, or if you have any thoughts on this, leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. But until then, I want you to take good care of yourself. Always smell nice. And I will talk to you soon. Until then, Centrail.